From Isolation Studios, it's Richard Crouse.
Welcome to In Isolation With. It's the talk show where we make a connection without actually making contact. I hope you're well. I hope you're practicing social distancing just as we are, washing your hands, not touching your face. Most of all, staying in and staying healthy. That's the important thing right now. If you've been watching In Isolation With, thank you very much. If you haven't, check us out on YouTube, or you can find out all the details that you need to know about the show at richardcrouse.ca. We've been lucky to have some great guests so far. Today is no different. In December, I found a really cool little horror film that I kind of fell in love with. It's the story of an immortal hunter. She is a killing machine, but she still has a big slice of humanity in her soul. It's a really cool film. It is called She Never Died. And today we're lucky enough to have the director and star of the film, Audrey Cummings and Oluniké Adeliyi, here to talk about the movie and how they're faring during the pandemic. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to give a big shout out to the Sobey Art Foundation and the National Gallery of Canada. Now, every year they give out an award of big money to an artist under 40 who has distinguished themselves. This year, with so many artists suffering during the pandemic, they've thought out of the box. They have redesigned how they do things, and they're giving $25,000 each to 5 artists from each of the 5 regions of the country. It's a fantastic thing when you have seen your exhibitions disappear. No one's buying art right now. It would be a life-changing amount of money, and I think that the Sobey Art Foundation and the National Gallery deserve a big shout out for redesigning and rethinking the way that they do business. Well, let's get to the main event. We'll tell you all about She Never Died in the interview, but first, have a look.
Robot?
No.
Zombie?
No.
Vampire?
I'm not a vampire.
You sound like a vampire.
Yeah, how are you doing, Audrey?
You know what? I'm doing really well. I actually got a Peloton bike.
What's that?
Oh, it's amazing. It's this bike that comes with like a screen on the front and these classes that you're like it's just spin classes that you can join up every day. So you can see a teacher, or they have these things where they took a camera through all these really cool countries. So you can bike rides through the countryside, dance classes, yoga. It's amazing. I love it.
That's awesome.
But how many hours a day can you spend on that bike?
Yeah, right. 45 minutes max.
That's it? They give you a time limit?
No.
Because that's how long the video lasts.
No, baby, that's how long my endurance lasts.
Gotcha.
Oluniké, how's it going for you?
I mean, it's great. You know, I'm lucky to be quarantined with my husband, who happens to be a chef. So I think that life is good.
And how's it working out for him? Is he still working, going into work and doing takeout at his restaurant, or
no? We are both home. We are home. Yeah, we are both home. So I get all the spoiling. I'm really spoiled.
Oh, I love it.
Like, I'm really spoiled. Like this morning, like he woke me up when I needed to wake up for this interview. But even before that, he breakfast in bed every morning. That's his deal.
Wow.
You could get used to that.
I am used to it. But yeah, like I was like, okay, yeah, it's scary going outside and that whole, you know, and I stopped watching the news, and there's no way. I don't want to see all that. But it does. I mean, being at home with the people that you love makes a huge difference. It really does.
And Audrey, are you going outside at all?
I am. I actually just came back from grocery shopping not very long ago.
That's cool.
Half an hour ago.
How are you feeling about it? I mean, I've talked to a number of people. I have gone grocery shopping, and I've gone to the liquor store, and I've done that sort of thing. But I'm really aware that if I pick something up, I have to buy it because I've touched it. I'm looking around and seeing how other people are behaving. Did that go through your mind at all?
It does all the time. And the thing that irks me the most, though, is when you go through the produce aisle, because people are so used to picking up something, feeling it. They don't like how it looks or feels, and they put it back. And then you're just like, okay, how many people have picked this up and put it back? You know, so I do think about that too. But I've got my Purell, and I've got on my like a spray that I spray the bags when I get home.
Right. Yeah, like we clean everything once it comes into the house. Yeah, like we use cleaner on bottles or any kind of containers, and any kind of vegetables we soak in vinegar water.
Oh, see, I've not heard that, because we've been doing the same thing around here. It's just my wife and I here at Isolation Studios. And if we order things in, or if we do go to the grocery store, we bring everything home and wash it. And yesterday, possibly for the first time ever in my life, I said, honey, did you dry the bananas yet? Which, because we washed the bananas.
Yeah, isn't that weird? It's like, that's so weird. Like, we're washing bananas, but yeah, that's the deal. Like, you know, you soak them, and yeah, but I mean, it's like you always have a fresh fridge.
Right. And so vinegar water, I've not heard that.
Vinegar water. My mom told me to do that. Yeah, my mom and my aunt usually did that anyway.
Really? Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so they're like, just make sure you wash everything, and you know, but that's fine. And then, yeah, it's been so weird. This is such a weird time, right?
It's so weird.
Well,
we took so many things for granted.
Well, I think that's one of the things that's going to come out of this, because I always hope that if something catastrophic happens, whether you know, it's with your health or whatever it might be, in this case the pandemic, I always hope that we can take something away from it, that we can learn from it when all this is said and done. Otherwise, sitting inside for a month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever it's going to turn out to be is all for nothing. So I hope that we learn how to not take everything for granted, that we learn that we are all part of this interconnected community, because you know, this disease, if nothing else, is teaching us how connected we all really are.
Yeah, it's certain. That is 100% right. You're absolutely right. If you don't, I don't know, if you don't come out of this learning something when it has to come to gratitude, then, I mean, whatever happens to you, I'm not even going to feel bad anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm totally in Lacey mode that way, you know, in that mindset of like, well, you know, you're a piece of crap. So you shouldn't deserve to live among the rest of us who actually learned something.
So we'll talk more about Lacey in just a sec. But Audrey, when you're not on your Peloton bike, how are you passing? Are you binging anything? Have you seen anything great that you want to tell people about?
Well, I'm finishing the last season of Homeland. It's so good. Oh my God.
Really?
So good. I can't even believe it. Every season is so good.
I've never watched it.
What?
I know. But sometimes, and maybe this is the same for both of you, when people tell you something's so good, you're like, no, I'll find it, you know, I'll get to it. And then the next time you look, there's 10 seasons and there's 150 shows to watch, and you're like, it's too much, I can't. But now,
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I just thought right now. It's like, oh, it's been around for so long. Man, I know there's a few seasons, but
big question.
But this is a good time, though.
Tiger King?
Have we watched
Tiger King? Oh, I saw that crap.
I've watched Tiger King. And I was very compelled by it. I mean, it to me was so timely, because it's about narcissism, it's about egos run out of control. It is about, and if you know, it's not too many steps away from seeing how certain leaders in the world are leading things right now. It to me was very compelling. I've talked to people though who absolutely couldn't get through it, even 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, I found it to be I was very uncomfortable, because it reminded me of slavery and when there used to be human zoos.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's very uncomfortable to watch. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. These animals, like, this is not good.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is. And the fact that when they said there's more tigers in America than there is in the wild, I went, oh my Lord.
I know.
and most of them are in these. They're not. I guess they're not. They're officially sanctioned zoos, I guess, but they're not a zoo like we would think of the Toronto Zoo or the San Diego Zoo or something.
Right.
Like that. It's a much different thing. There's a lot more cages for one thing in these places.
Yeah, it's pretty sickening. So, but and it's like it's comical, but also eerie, you know. So I was like, no, this was. I was like, nope. But I was like, darn, I started. I have to get through it. But like, yes, I'm almost finished Netflix. I'm almost finished Netflix.
I
but
there is an end. I think that there probably is an end. Then the screen just goes blank and your television blows up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, cause wow, I've watched a lot of stuff.
Audrey, the first time that you saw E.T., you were fully taken in by it. What was it about that movie that was so magical for you, and that I'm guessing sort of pushed you along to becoming a filmmaker yourself?
Well, I think it was just this idea. It opened up, I guess, my eyes to like another world and more life out there, and the prospect of just, I don't know, science fiction worlds and just different. I don't know, just being able to create new worlds, I guess. That's what I really gravitated to. That and how cute the little alien was, but.
When you watch it today, though, he really just does look like a rubber puppet. But
I know.
It's his eyes or something that draws you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes. He's just, yeah, they somehow you're getting all the expression out of them, like that you, I don't know. I felt really connected to him. I cried through the movie. I probably would still cry through the movie. Like, it's very touching, and I don't know. Yeah, it just got me.
And Oluniké, you were sort of pushed along your path a little bit, and I love this story so much, and I want to hear about it. You were an extra on the set of Denzel Washington's movie John Q.
Right.
He pulled you aside and said, "You got to go to acting school."
Yeah.
Well, what happened? How does Denzel?
I don't know. I think maybe, I don't know what it is about me, but people are, maybe he was just drawn to me, I guess. People are usually, and I think he saw me just watching everything very intently. You know, I really did care about what was going on. So I think he saw that. And so he pulled me aside, and it was not just once, it was like lunch times, you know, that's when we just would sit and talk. And he said, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I want to sing, dance, and act." And he said, "Whoa, just chill." Do one thing great, and then bring the others along. And then and then he told me to go to school. It'd be great if I really wanted to be an actress, and that would be the right route.
And what was that moment like the first time that he took you aside? Because it's Denzel Washington. I mean,
I know.
You know, I've met him a couple of times. I saw him on Broadway on Iceman Cometh, doing Iceman Cometh.
I did too. I saw Iceman
Cometh. So good. 4.5 hours of 1940s socialism goes by like that when Denzel is on the stage. But he's so charismatic, and he's a movie star. He's one of the biggest movie stars going, and he's taking you aside. Was your mind blown, or were you kind of like, yeah, no, I'm cool with all this?
No, I wasn't cool at all. I was blown. I was like, whoa, you know. But like he did put me at ease too, though. Like, it's, you know, because you hear a lot of stories too. You also hear a lot of stories that, oh my gosh, he's difficult, he's this, or don't look him in the eye. Just dumb stuff that like kind of build up the anxiety. And then when I did actually meet him and speak with him, and it was in such a different manner than people just gawking or whatnot, right? It's just two people having a conversation, a real conversation of passing down information from one generation to the next. And so I was honored, I would say. The scared part just kind of drifted away once I realized what was happening, the tutelage that I was getting. So yeah, I was pretty honored.
Well, he probably felt that energy on set, and you probably had the same energy then as you still do now. Like, Oluniké on set is incredible. No ego, pure joy. Like, she'll sit there and like rip someone's head off in a fight scene, and then start like, when cut, she'll be like twerking.
Like, I'll be twerking over to the side.
But you just have this beautiful aura about you on set that people are just drawn to you because you're so, I don't know, just this this ball of sunshine. Like, and
Aw.
you were probably the same way then. That's probably why he said, go act.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Because I loved this movie when it came out theatrically. It is now on VOD, so you can find it wherever you find your movies, and you're downloading legally and paying for them.
12 missing people in the last 2 months.
Now, half a dozen dismembered bodies, their fingers conspicuously absent.
Following me? Yeah, I killed that guy.
Oh, wow. Why?
I wanted to eat him.
What?
Well, parts of him.
Parts of him?
You didn't write this. You co-wrote, right?
No. Jason Krawczyk, who wrote He Never Died, they were planning on doing He Never Died 2 with it. Originally.
Right.
And then Henry ended up getting swept away into TV world.
Henry Rollins, who was the star of He Never Died. Yeah.
Correct. And so then they decided, well, let's pivot. Jason wrote such a big world. Let's show another fallen angel and show her story. And so then we moved on to, She Never Died, and then they brought me on. Yeah.
And there's a number of changes, because the original is a cult favorite. But Roland's character is immortal, like Lacey, the character that you play. Unlike Roland's character, she cares about people.
Yes.
Not all people, but a lot of people. And I think that changes the vibe of the entire film. Was that important, Audrey, to you as a filmmaker?
That was one of the things that for me, I felt that Lacey needed to be able to feel pain, vulnerability, sadness, happiness. Like, I just think that those are traits in a character when you're watching a movie that really draws you in, makes you care for them, makes you love them. And it allows the character to have an arc as well, which she has a beautiful arc in here. She's this very closed off character who's fighting not joining society because she's in sort of a world she doesn't really belong to. So she's fighting not joining society. And then, unwittingly she ends up with this group there's this sort of motley crew of them all kind of working with her.
Right.
Which I just love. I just love it. But yeah, it was super important. And Oluniké, who's able to go from, tough and strong to vulnerable in just seamlessly, we just opened it up in every scene and just allowed her to go with it, go with what how you're feeling in the moment. And she, every take was gold.
You should go.
Do you think it takes some time to realize you've done the worst thing in your life?
Okay, I've got a quote from you where you say, "I try to pick my roles with an eye for difference."
Yes.
And, what drew you then to the role of Lacey? Certainly a very different kind of character, but what was it exactly? Because she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. There was a lot of action. You got to poke your finger in people's eyes. You got to do all that kind of stuff. Tell me what appealed to you.
Well, first of all, I did it even without knowing what it was, because it was Audrey.
Aww.
Because she's like, I got a role for you, and I was like, okay, just work it out, and no problem. I didn't even know the gist of it. I said yes before I really knew the story.
Wow.
Right, because I trust her that much.
Yeah.
Secondly, I love roles that have very little dialogue. I'm not a dialogue hungry actor. In fact, I try to avoid as much dialogue. I try to do that because I find that my body is smarter than my brain. I've always known that. I think that is a human thing. Our bodies react even quicker than a brain does. Because we try to intellectualize everything, right? But really and truly, it's just instinct. And that's how I always try to form characters or research, or, I take it all the way down to animal base of just instinct.
Right.
So I build characters from there. So to me, that was Lacey. She was just all animal, and who doesn't want to just watch somebody in behavior?
I was amazed to find out that you shot it in just 15 days. Is that right?
Correct.
So,
Oh yeah.
the challenges that presents to you, and then Oluniké, for me, it seems that maybe when you're working like that, that it's just got to be completely instinctual. You've just got to go with your gut.
You do. You have no time to really think about things, and nor should you. You shouldn't spend that time in your head and just enjoy interacting with the other actors, right? So it's always about the other actor. It's never about you, because when you put it all on yourself, then it'll take that much longer to get through something because you're overthinking it. What's my angle? How can I look better? All of that is garbage, right? It's just, you're taking up everybody's time. Just enjoy the other person and reacting to the other person. And so then I just surrendered. And I 15 days to do this, and I was still doing another project in the middle of that. So I didn't have any time to waste, right? So, because I had to keep going from between two characters.
Yeah, and she was getting her sleep like on the bus or the truck.
On the truck, yeah, on the ride back and forth. That's where I slept.
Yeah.
Wow.
6 hours each way, yeah.
And Audrey, so 15 days.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you as a director, as a filmmaker?
Oh, good old Canadian movie making. Which is an upgrade from Darken, which we had basically 13 and a half days.
Real.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's really, it's hard because you start off with a really ambitious script, and there's fight sequences, there's special effects, there's just lots of locations and location moves and things, and a bigger cast. And I'm the kind of director that, for me, I need to sit down and design every single scene. I have these little Lego figures, and I have my phone that acts as a camera to help me like block and
I love it.
Yeah, and so I like walking on set already knowing like how I'm going to shoot the scene. And I got brought onto this when they pivoted into She Never Died. It went pretty quickly. Like, I think they called me, they were maybe, so we had 3 weeks of prep before shooting. So in prep, you're trying to find the locations and trying to get, all the departments up and running and going and all that kind of stuff. And I used those 3 weeks. So I was double dutying it already, like designing the film, finding the locations, getting the crew up and running. So I was double dutying it. And by the first day of principal photography, I was already exhausted. And then I had like 15 days of about 20-hour days to do it. And just by the end, you're skinny, you're frail, you have no idea what's happening anymore. But you know what? It's really great experience. It's good training because you start to really have to figure out, okay, what's the heart of the scene? What do I need to get? And I already know how I've designed it. So if I've designed it with four different camera angles, okay, we don't have any time. I need it to be one. So how can I design putting in all four into the one? And so it's just really important to make your day every day, because on 15 days, you can't make it up. If it's raining,
Right.
there's if you don't shoot outside in the rain, you can't make it up. And so every day you're on the brink of like absolute failure or absolute success.
You get skinny and frail by the end of it, but you end up with a great movie like She Never Died. So
yeah, you gotta fight for it.
I am a fan. I'm a fan of the movie. It's on VOD right now. People can find it. One last question for both of you about sort of I guess a pandemic-related thing. But this is, as we talked about earlier, a time of re-examination. A lot of us were sitting around, thinking about things maybe differently than we had before. What kind of movies do you think will come out of all of this?
That's a great question. Because I don't even know, to tell you the honest truth, because we have pandemic movies already. Contagion was one of the highly watched movies on Netflix since this whole pandemic. So I don't know. What else do you come up with? Like, what do you come up with? I was hearing that they're starting to film like virtual filming, like virtual sets, and I was like, no, I will not be okay with this. No, you are no, because there's so many businesses that are starting right now, right? Online.
Yeah.
I mean, IG Live, I'm like, whoa, you've never seen it like that before.
I know.
Right.
And Audrey, are you cooking up any ideas while you're sitting here?
Oh yeah, I'm working every day.
Yeah.
Of course you
Telecommuting and
are.
working.
Of course you are.
Well, I was fortunate enough that I have a couple screenplays that are pretty much all ready to go. I was fortunate enough. I went my last trip to LA. By the time I was pitching five, sometimes 6 meetings a day.
Yeah.
And when I came back, they were just closing all the borders and all the stuff. So I just made it back in. Right. And so now it's kind of like, okay, well, I have a little bit of free time just to keep tweaking and making sure they're really good. And the plan is to get the first one out in the next week or so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I will keep my fingers crossed for you. I'm envious, Oluniké, of the food that you're eating. I'm telling you. You're very lucky.
I am. I really am. And I'm like, my body's all curvy. It's great.
Thank you both so much for doing this and spending some time with me at Isolation Studios. So great to be able to talk to you guys. So,
it's so good to talk to you too.
I'm sad it's ending.
The end is nice. No, every generation says that, but every generation is wrong.
That's kind of different. Maybe we can make a trade.
Well, they were lots of fun, and so is their movie. You can find She Never Died anywhere that you legally download or rent movies, so iTunes, places like that. Before we go, I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. Like so many of us, I've been spending just a little bit too much time on Twitter and Facebook, killing time on social media, but I found a couple of cool memes that I wanted to share with you. First up, if you know me, or perhaps if you've been watching this show for a little while, you'll know that I'm maybe the world's biggest David Bowie fan. And so those memes and social media posts tend to catch my eye a little bit. And I saw a really cool one the other day that takes the cover of my favorite album cover, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, the greatest album ever made. We can debate that another time. And makes a couple of changes to it, a couple of subtle changes that makes it perfectly timely for right now. So have a look at that. You can find it on the David Bowie official Instagram page or on my Instagram page at Richard Crouse. Also, I saw this and I thought they were really cool. So Lady Frankenstein is an artist who creates whimsical creatures and these days, like so many other artists and creative people, face masks. The face masks that she has made here suggest that she is a fan of the movie Alien and particularly of the creature, the face hugger. And so she's made these really startling masks. Now, they're very limited edition. It's just for Lady Frankenstein and her husband. I don't know, Frankenstein. I guess maybe he's Frankenstein. And one other one that you'll be able to find on eBay, and you can bid on that one. If you're interested, check out the eBay page, find Lady Frankenstein on Facebook. She's easy to find, and have a look at some of her other really cool creations. Well, that's it for right now. Thanks so much for watching. Stay healthy, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and we'll talk to you again soon.